So let's get started. Session one. Um, but before we get into session one, I just wanted to do a little bit of recap for everybody who's joining for the first time. And, I had done an introductory session, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background on the duration methodology of the course that we are doing and what are some of my reflections or insights that I have developed. I'd put this forward in front of everybody that I'd spent at the last count when I was doing this introductory sessions about 3,000 hours of study. It's definitely gone much more because I continue to invest at least 3 to 4 hours every day, even today, while I'm driving, while there's something that is running. And right now, the investment that I'm doing is on a KP subject of KP astrology, which you'll kind of get introduced. But that investment of the 3,000 hours of study, what I realized is that astrology is very vast. It's a profound science. It provides deep insights into our own lives. This is a powerful tool I've continued to maintain. And this is a powerful tool that helps us do our own self discovery. So, a lot of times, just able to understand what we are and why do we operate. And I'll give you a couple of stories from my own life. Um, but as I was studying and as I continue to navigate through this, what I realize is that there is an absence of clear learning methods. It's all over the place. And there is so much of a noise because, you open these days, you open Insta, Facebook, YouTube, and if you have access some kind of an astrology subject, it'll start looking at it and it'll start throwing you that kind of a subject. But you don't know what to capture, what not to capture. And what I discovered and my insight is that there is an absence of clear learning methods. And therefore, this subject appears very complex than how it is actually. So I kept on thinking, why can't we apply system, process, structure? How do you go about taking your first steps to start understanding the language of astrology or language of Jyotisha, which is so profound that it can tell you things that possibly no other science will be able to give you. So how can we apply the structure process? And that's what I started doing. And as you know, this was an invitation only batch. So this has been carefully curated, novice and beginners, so that if you don't know anything on this subject, great. If you know a bit of it, awesome. And then we continue to take the next steps forward. So my goal for this batch is to give you a very strong foundation so that if you are getting introduced to this subject or if somebody else is telling you, you are aware and people you're not just being taken for a ride. I can tell you my journey started and I don't even know that 2 years before I didn't even know that I would be sitting down and doing this subject and training a number of folks. I did not know how this journey happened with me, but what I know is that there was a lot of pain and I realized that I did not understand this subject and therefore I had to rely on somebody else to tell me things that I had no clue of. And therefore, this this objective of this program is to get you inducted into this journey. 1 hour session every Saturday with a 30 minutes of question and answers. I will take specific question and answers. Everything will be on Zoom. And after we do this, we will also post it on the public platform so that more people get benefited with the science that it is. What are we going to do today? First of all, the chart that you see on the right hand side has been created by my daughter. I gave her the overall objectives and help me understand and get through it. And then she's the one who kind of created it. So all credit to her. It was not easy. It took her about 6, 7 hours to build this. And today, if we are all able to understand this chart on how the cosmic sky is divided by our great rishis, because you apply whichever science, it operates on one guiding principle, and that guiding principle is how the cosmic is divided into which sections, which segments, and so on and so forth. So, really, what we will start is by looking at the the 9 planets that are there. So actually 7 core planets and 2 shadow planets. But at the end of this session, you will be able to understand not only the 9 planets, you'll also be able to look at the characters of the planets, what role they play in our lives. Then you will be able to understand the zodiac. In English terms, I'm pretty sure when we were growing up, we were saying, I'm a Sagittarius, you're an Aries. What does that really mean? And, and that zodiac in Sanskrit is called Rashi. So you have to start getting used to some of the terminologies and what that really means. So planet or grahas, Rashi or zodiac. And then the finest bifurcation is the nakshatras. Nakshatras or the lunar mansions, or in the Islamic world, if you've heard a word called manzil. So all of this is the same. The manzil, lunar mansions, nakshatra. All of this is the same. So you will be able to understand how the cosmic sky is divided into the zodiac, into the nakshatras, and then nakshatras is further divided into what is called the padas or the quarters. So you will be able to understand that. Uh, I think it's a beauty. It took me many months to get to this level of clarity that you're looking at on the screen to be able to say, how is this? And this was the biggest problem that I had understanding this, because people were introducing me grahas separately, nakshatras separately, padas separately. I did not know how to bring it all together. And I'm very happy to let you know that this chart brings it all together, and you will be able to start understanding and appreciating how the movement happens, what's the cosmic divisions, etc., etc. So you will be able to understand this. You'll also understand why there are 108 beads in a mala. And why do you do that 108? One of the science of 108 is also in the nakshatras and the padas. As I have said, we are getting introduced to the grammar of astrology. And this grammar is the foundation for all the methods that different rishis started applying. Whether we go through, a system called Parashari, or in, 2, 3, 6 systems that we will talk about, whichever system we will go through, the foundation is this. Somebody will go to the nakshatra, somebody will go to Rashi, somebody will go to the planet, somebody will go to the houses, and so on and so forth. And then at the end of it, if the time permits, we should be able to look at the 6 prominent ways you decode this for yourself and start understanding. Okay. So let's start by looking at the 9 planets, one after the other. We will start with Sun. And what we have also given is we have given you the English name and the Sanskrit name for this, which is Surya. What is the archetype? What is the core archetype which is there? And if you want to follow along in the participant guide, this is on page number 5 of your participant guide, if you want to follow along in the participant guide as well. So Sun represents your soul. It is the authority, and it defines the purpose. So Let me just give some hints to you. If you look at your chart is divided into 12 different domains. And in your chart, whichever house your sun is sitting in, that determines the purpose that really drives you. That is one of the ways to interpret and start looking at it. But as you can see, sun has a role. And when you were born, sun was sitting in one Rashi, one Nakshatra, or one Pada. If I'm going ahead of this, right now, focus on that sun represents ego, it represents leadership, it represents vitality, it represents a lot of illumination. Every planet has a gender as well. It's a male planet or a female planet. Every house has a gender as well. If you've ever heard things like, hey, there's something happening in my life, and if I go somewhere, I tell something to someone, and then that thing just doesn't happen anymore. In Hindi, they say nazar lag jati hai. You will be able to understand the science of the timing, why it happens with you, and why it does not happen with you. It is because of the science of the male and female as well. Female energy absorbs, male energy provides. So if there is a particular planet or particular house that is active at particular point of time that has a female energy prominent in your charts, that will start happening. You will start absorbing. And when you absorb, you will absorb what is around you. So we will talk about some of the signs there, but sun is the soul. Moon is the mind. Wherever moon is in your chart, that is where your mind is, your emotions. And sun is the king, moon is the queen. And as you can say, moon also represents mother. So sensitivity, care, creativity, and no prizes for guessing. The gender for moon is female. Mars, Mars is really I say Mars is the commander in chief, the energy guy. Um, so wherever the Mars is in your chart, that is where all your energy is. And therefore, Mars represents the army chief. Mars is the warrior. And Mars is the one who creates all kinds of conflicts because it's having a lot of energy in the chart. So, of course, um, if there is a drive that you need to have, the strength, courage, ambition, very important planet. Any individual who's going through a phase in their life where they are feeling weak, Mars is impacted. You need to make sure that the Mars, which is the planet of courage, that needs to be strengthened well enough. Then we go to planet Mercury. Mercury is intellect. You're all activating Mercury at this point of time because you're studying a new subject. And Mercury is the planet of intellect. Mercury is the planet uh, of speech, communication. Mercury is the planet of logic. Mercury provides adaptability. When we do any kind of a business, Mercury is the planet to look for. And Mercury does not have a gender. It adapts the gender of the house that it goes and sits in. So if it goes and sits in a male house, it becomes a male characteristics. If it goes and sits in a female house, it goes and becomes a female characteristic. Then there is Jupiter, which we call Guru. Jupiter, Guru, the teacher, the wisdom, the faith, any kind of expression that is happening, that is Guru. It's the sage. So characterize this as a sage. um, who has a lot of knowledge, and understands everything. Uh, Jupiter is always very optimistic and always sticks to the dharma. So wherever your Jupiter is sitting again, that's where your dharma principles will be, really. A very important planet in all of your chart, because Jupiter really determines what will happen. In future sessions, we will go into what is called a karma alignment, framework. And when karma alignment framework happens, Jupiter really plays a role, because Jupiter continues to follow and change one house or one Rashi to another Rashi 1 year. And that explains why a Kumbh Mela happens every 12 years, because Jupiter is taken the position and gone to a specific position after 12 years. It'll take 12 houses, and therefore the circulation. Jupiter, very important. Venus, well, today Venus, it represents luxury, money, well-being, and beauty, love, harmony. And therefore, in today's world, Venus is very important planet. It's a planet of desire. It's a planet of beauty. So if you're looking at a male chart, you want to look at, how the better half would be on the other side. You look at the planet's placement of Venus, and you look at which house and domain and so on and so forth. And then that's how you start deciphering and start looking at it. Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma. The worker planet is the Saturn. And therefore, the Saturn is servant, discipline, patience. And if I were to characterize Saturn, Saturn is like that old man sitting in one corner of the house. All hairs are white. And that man or woman, the great grandmother, the great grandfather, who knows everything, but is not in a hurry to get things done. So Saturn is slow. Saturn is the slowest planet. So wherever Saturn is sitting in your house, in your chart, it'll slow things down for you. So if Saturn is sitting in the house of marriage, it'll slow that thing for you. If the Saturn is sitting in the house of death, it'll slow the process of death for you. Anything or anywhere Saturn is sitting, it slows down, because that's the character. But Saturn is very cruel. If you do not follow the right principles, think about it, that the great grandfather, great grandmother. If you don't do things in the right way, Saturn does not like it. And if it doesn't like it, it starts creating impact in your life. Finally, there is Rahu and Ketu. Most of us who are on this call, let me tell you, in some shape or the format, Rahu or Ketu would be active. If Rahu or Ketu is active, these are nothing but the north node and the south node of moon. And they are shadows, therefore. They're not real. So Rahu is the body, and Ketu is the head portion. Ketu, actually the other way out. Ketu is not having the head. Rahu is having the head. So anybody whose Rahu is very active is very observant. They always absorb and observe. Let me repeat those two words. Absorb and observe. Rahu does the best. And Ketu, the intuition is very, very high when Ketu is very prominent. So I just wanted to give you a background of all these planets, the characteristics of these planets. There is more details available in your participant guides between page number 5 and page number 6. Now, the cosmic framework. Um, the first division that we have, uh, you know, the mathematical genius of our sages, I continue to be in the awe of how they mathematically went to computing and, bringing all of these pieces together. The first computation that was done was divide the 360 degrees. So when you look up in the cosmic sky, you have a 360-degree view. And what our sages did is the first division that they did is that they divided 360 into 12 equal parts. That's the first division that occurred. And this was called Zodiac or Rashi chakras. So if you divide 360 by 12, what is it that you get? Anybody? 360 by 12?
30 degrees.
30.
30 degrees. Correct? So if you divide
Yes.
360 by 12, you get a 30 degree. And therefore, every Rashi or every zodiac is a 30 degree. So, when you celebrate your birthday in according to the English calendar, you know what you're doing? You're actually celebrating your birthday exactly on the date that sun was, because sun takes 1 year to come back to its own position, 365 days. And that's the day that you actually celebrate your birthday according to the Western calendar. Um, and therefore, wherever your sun is in your chart, whichever Rashi is, so every zodiac has a number. So if you open your chart, you look at sun, and next to the sun, that chart will have a number between 1 to 12. Can you all see that? Your chart will have a number from 1 to 12. Depending on whichever number you are, so my sun, for example, is in number 1 house.
Alok, do we need to see Lagna chart or no much? Which one?
That's a good question. Thank you, Pushpen. You should look at your Lagna chart.
Oh.
Yes. Everybody got their Lagna chart? Yeah.
Yep.
Can you see sun?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Where do you
It's in
see
the
your
second
sun?
house. It's in the second house of Libra at 1 degree. For me.
Atin?
Yes.
Can we just confirm in the guide, the house one starts from the middle diamond, but the chart that I got from Astro Sage, that's actually house 2. So, is this position right, or should we redo the numbers?
Ask
So,
that question again.
yeah, so let me just show you. I don't know if you can see, but can you see the Lagna chart?
Yeah.
So the house one actually starts from here, but I thought the house one should be this one.
Yeah. Okay. That is fair. I get it. The house 1 is always house 1. Your Rashi is starting from number 2. So you're a Taurus Rashi, according to this. But right now, what I'm asking you to do is to look at sun.
Okay.
Where is sun? And which number does sun represent?
7. Okay. I was just thinking, so should we take the same number, or should we adjust the numbers starting
Not
one
now.
from one?
Not now. Those numbers are just correct.
Okay.
So if you look at sun, and sun is in 7, which
Then
means
7.
it makes
Libra.
you a Libra.
Yeah.
Right? That's the simple mathematics with which right now we are working. It goes very fine. Right now, we're just doing the first level of, detailing out. That's the first division. Now, what happened is that our sages really looked at the moon pattern, because Vedic astrology is all based on the moon. And they looked at the moon pattern, and they looked at that the moon takes about 27.3 days to take a circle of the earth completely. And therefore, they were motivated to say, can I look at the cosmic sky and can I convert these into various lunar mansions or nakshatras? And can I group them? And is that an energy that is happening as the moon is passing from one place to another? And that, with that motivation, our sages divided the whole cosmos into 27 nakshatras. Now we are going deep dive into nakshatras. So you saw one concept that we've left behind, which is rashis. And then we are going up and then saying, this is the nakshatras, 27 different categories of nakshatras. The list of the nakshatras you are able to see on the screen. It starts with Ashwini and it ends with Revati. So 27 nakshatra. Now, let me ask a question. Have you ever heard about something like, I was born in this nakshatra, I was born in Swati nakshatra, I was born in Jeshta nakshatra, I was born in that nakshatra? Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Not really. I don't think so. Many people talk about this much openly because how things have been structured society-wise, we are more commonly linked with the sun sign, or the moon sign we were born under. So most of I mean, I've only learned these things by diving deep into it. But before, it was always like, okay, because you were born in October, so you were a Libra. That's how it was.
Yes. So it was very macro, and therefore, for a lot of people, this becomes a fun thing to say, oh, I'm a Libra, you are a Scorpio, let's do a match to be able to find out and all of that. And
It's
therefore,
the
the
worst match.
science got lost.
Yeah, it's the worst match because
Yeah.
air and
Yeah.
water, no.
Okay. So therefore, the 27 nakshatras got created. We called every nakshatra a name. And what this means is, if you are a Swati nakshatra, what that means is that moon was transiting this nakshatra when you were born. So it is also called your Janma nakshatra. I'm pretty sure when you were creating your Navatara chart, folks who have created your Navatara chart, your first nakshatra is your Janma nakshatra. So everybody, just make sure that you mark your Janma nakshatra extremely well, because the Janma nakshatra and the nakshatra number 27 is so important. If you've ever heard things like, I've got your back, I've got your back. And if you look at the first nakshatra and the 27th nakshatra, they are always behind each other. And 27th nakshatra does a lot of positive things in your life. So mark your first nakshatra and mark your 27 nakshatra. Now, the sages were also trying to find out, how do we map the 30 degrees that we had and the nakshatra, that when you divide the nakshatra, so 360 has to be divided in different formats. So now you divide 360 into 27 parts. What you get is a 13 degree 20 minutes. So that was an equal division. So every nakshatra was then divided into 13 degree and 20 minutes. That's why it was. That's how it was done. But when they started mapping the Rashi into nakshatra, they realized, oh, there is no fitment. So what we will have to do is we will have to divide the nakshatras into quarters. So they divided every nakshatra into 4 parts, and that explains, if you multiplied a 27 by 4, so 27 nakshatra, every nakshatra has that 4 parts to it, you will arrive at a 108.
Do you
So
think like under these 4 different parts, will that display different characteristics in a person, like different?
100%. 100%. In fact, dharma, arth, kan, moksha. That is
Is
there.
it
So
dharma, arth, kam, moksha? Dharma, arth, kam, moksha. Are these the four parts of
uh,
every nakshatra?
yeah, so let's just hold to that question for a
Sorry.
moment.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm
Okay.
focusing with everybody to go into the divisions, so you
Yes.
understand how cosmic has been divided. So Atin, I'll come back. I've made a note of your question. I'll come back to that. But right now, what is happening is that you see the cosmic sky is divided into rashis, which was 30-degree each, and then it got divided into nakshatra, which is 27, and then it got divided, every nakshatra got divided into four parts, which is 108. So that is the overall division of the overall nakshatra. Now, before we get into uh, the details, I did want to prompt a couple of things here. Look at your lagna chart and look at your navamansha chart. Keep both your charts together. Let's do this. It's going to be interesting. Now, when you look at your lagna chart and navamansha chart, let me ask a few prompting questions at this point of time. Are planets sitting differently in the lagna chart and in the navamansha chart for you?
Yes.
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 It is for everybody, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, question number two, related to your Rashi. So, Rashi is the numbers that you see. So, the first house number that you're looking at, are the numbers very similar in your Navamansha and Lagna, or are they different?
Different.
Different. Everybody?
Uh, yeah, it's different.
Different. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Those are just prompting questions. I'm just taking you to a journey, and then finally have the planets change nakshatra too. You will not be able to see this in your charts based on this, but you will see whether or not that question gets answered once I introduce you to the nakshatra wheel. Now, I've already told you that within the Navtara chart that you all had created, have you been able to mark your Janma Nakshatra? Everybody
Yes.
knows your Janma Nakshatra?
Yes.
Do you also know the pada or the quarter of the Janma Nakshatra?
No.
Yeah, there is a way to understand the pada. So that becomes a
Yes. So
question.
my pada is 4.
Pada is 4. Okay.
My my lagna nakshatra is hasta.
Okay. Okay. Janma Nakshatra is your moon nakshatra. So there
The
is a
moon would
Lagna
be
Nakshatra,
Vishakha.
Vishaka.
Yes.
Okay. So you are my Vishaka buddy, Atin. I am a Vishaka Nakshatra also.
Thank you.
So 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 you look at your Janma Nakshatra, and Vishaka means you would have Swati as your 27 nakshatra.
My
Likewise,
Janma Nakshatra is Purva Bhadra.
Purva Bhadra.
Yeah.
So Purva Bhadrapada, then your 27th nakshatra should be Satabisha, should be your 27. How am I
Yeah.
computing this? Are you able to look at the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
I get
First
confused a bit.
one is
Just
Purva Bhadra. The time.
the above that. Okay. Any other example?
Mom and I are both Shravana, and our 27th is Uttar Ashada.
Shravana
Yeah.
and Uttarashadha. Yes. Right. So you get the hang of it. I just wanted to give you that perspective.
So,
Now,
sorry, I'm a little bit confused. Can you please show me how did you calculate from the first nakshatra? What's your 27th nakshatra? Because my understanding is that the 27th would be the one before that.
Yeah. It'll
Even
become
I
very
think the
clear.
same. Yeah.
It'll become very clear to all of you. Now, can you see my screen that has the nakshatra wheel? So let me just answer that question of 27th nakshatra using this wheel. If you look at Ashwini, Revati is the 27th nakshatra. Can you see that? So if you
Yes,
look
so
at
Ashwini will
Bharani,
be the first one, correct?
yeah, if you look at Bharani, Ashwini becomes the 27th nakshatra. If you look at Kritika, Bharani becomes the 27th nakshatra.
So,
That's the wheel that you will look at.
So in order to understand this correctly, so all of these nakshatras order-wise, we have to look them anti-clockwise.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
and then obviously, the 27 nakshatra will be the last one from the other side. Okay,
yes.
cool.
Yes.
I got it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And therefore, understanding this chart, if you, at the end of this session today, if you get this chart, you have really hit the foundation of what is required. So let's go from core and let's go outside. So if you look at the core, we started with a 30-degree and 12 bifurcations. It started with number one, number two, number three, all the way, and it went into number 12. Everybody can see that?
Yes.
Now, look at your charts. Wherever you're looking at number one, that is Aries and Mars, which means that is Aries Rashi, and the owner of that Rashi is Mars.
Yes, Mangal.
Whenever you look at number two in your chart, just continue to look at. So, Akriti, if I remember, you had right in your first house, number two was written. So, which means it's a Taurus, and the owner of Taurus is Venus. Okay, everybody with me? So the 12 signs goes this way. 1, Aries and Mars. 2, this is 30-degree. 2, Taurus Venus. 3, Gemini Mercury. 4, Moon Cancer. 5, Sun Leo. 6, Virgo Mercury. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 accordingly. Okay? So if I were to cut the other portion half and just say this, what I'm able to see is what does number one represent in my chart? So all of you in your chart have got number one written somewhere. Look at that. Look at your charts. You got one number written somewhere. You know that
it
one number represents
the 8th house for me.
Yes. So which means if it is 8th house for you,
because I'm a Virgo rising, so for me it becomes the 8th house.
Yeah. So number one means that is the house that is owned by Mars on your charts.
So
Wherever you're seeing number 9, that is the house owned by Jupiter. Yeah. So that's how you look at the bifurcation. I will come back to question in some time. I'll give you a full 30-minute to question and answers. Now, that's the bifurcation that you look at. And then when you go up, the 27 nakshatras were further divided into 360. You see, so you see, Ashwini started from 0 degrees and ended at 13 degree 20 minutes. So that was the first Ashwini nakshatra, then Bharani, then Kritika. So every nakshatra is 13 degree 20 minutes, 13 degree 20 minutes, 13 degree 20 minutes. But what the sages decided and determined that I just can't fit in 2 nakshatras into one Rashi. One Rashi is 30 degree. What is the combination of 2 nakshatras? Can you tell me? 2 nakshatras is 13 degree 20 minutes plus 13 degree 20 minutes. How much it'll be?
2640.
2640.
2640. It's not fitting in. It is just not fitting in. So what they did is they converted this nakshatras into four padas. So this is where it gets interesting. Now let's focus only on the Aries. Aries is four padas of or four quarters of Ashwini. Can you all clearly see that?
Yeah.
Four quarters of Ashwini and four quarters of Bharani. Can you see that? 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4 of Ashwini, 1, 2, 3, 4 of Bharani, and 1/4 of Kritika.
Kritika, correct.
Critical. That's right. Yeah.
Are you with me? So
Yes.
every Rashi will have 9 quarters. So what I'm saying is that Aries has 100% of Ashwini, 100% of Bharani, and 1/4 of Kritika.
Kritika.
Let me take a pause. Everybody get that?
Mm-hmm.
So Aries, I have to have 30 degrees in total, and therefore I can't have two nakshatras fit into one Rashi, one zodiac. It can't fit in. So what I will do is I'll have 9 quarters to fulfill. So I'll get 4 quarters from Ashwini, 4 quarters from Bharani, and 1/4 from Kritika. That makes my Aries.
Aries.
Now is the time for me to ask a question. Let's look at Taurus. And can I prompt somebody on this? Let's look at Taurus.
Mhm.
How much of Bharani, how much of Kritika, and how much of Rohini or whatever is Taurus taking?
I can answer that.
Yeah, so you can, who wants to go? Let me make a choice.
Okay.
Let me make a choice.
I think we
I'll
all
give
are competing
everybody
with
an
each other right now.
opportunity. So somebody who's kind of quiet on this, Prakashan, we haven't had an opportunity to interact with you. Would you like to call out what's happening with Taurus here?
Yeah, it's full quarter of Bharani, full quarter of Kritika.
Full quarter of Bharani, full quarter of Kritika. That doesn't seem like the right answer. Anybody else wants to
Okay.
help?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Sapnaji, why don't you go? What's happening with Taurus? Go ahead. Shikaji, you go.
Okay. So for you said for Bharani, so none from Bharani for the Taurus,
Yeah.
and 3/4 from Kritika,
Yep.
and 4/4 from Rohini,
Yep.
and and you have 2/4 from Mrigasira, I think.
Mrigasira. Mrigasira. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Understood? Understood? Who has not understood it? Let's do this for Aquarius. Let's do this for Aquarius. Samirji, tell me for Aquarius, what's happening?
Aquarius starts from 2/4 of Dhanishta, then 4/4 of Satabhisha, and 3/4 of Bhadra, Purva Bhadra.
Purva Bhadrapada. Brilliant. Now, this concept, if you are able to understand this concept, foundational, many, many things will get clear. Let's do this whole understanding on this chart itself. Now, let me switch gears, because This is a snapshot of a chart taken on a particular day. Let's call it that way. Okay. When we are born at that 200,000 feet, we know the sun was in let's say Pisces, and therefore we are called a Pisces. But there are so many other planets in different positions. And that's the energy that is really creating and causing an impact. These are vibrations. So I was born, and each one of us were born with a specific vibration. And what you need to do is understand what your vibration is. Because now you know you can go into Pada. Atin was talking about his Vishaka Nakshatra and fourth Pada. What that really means is that his ascendant was rising, if it was ascendant, or the moon was in that pada. Now, when you were born, each one of you, you will be able to see that all your planets are in different nakshatra. All your planets are in different pada. And using that, all the sages were able to do all the computation and calculations, right? So look at your charts. Look at your charts. And when you look at your Janma Nakshatra, when the moon was circulating, and when you draw a single line from here, you know where moon was, and then you draw a line there. That line, that nakshatra, that pada becomes your um, place where you are born. Likewise, your Mars, your Saturn, your all the other planets, depending on how fast or slow they're moving, that becomes your nakshatra. That becomes your planet and the nakshatra and the pada. Now, this essentially is telling us that our sages were able to accurately tell so much of accuracy. It was not a 30-degree computation, but a 3-degree 20 minutes computation, which goes so fine. And this is what really matters when you look at patterns in your life. So, a lot of time, whether or not the right predictions are happening or not happening, that is determined by whether or not my right birth time was computed or not. Your birth time here may be the same day. The sun has not shifted from one Rashi to another Rashi, but the moon has shifted from one pada to another pada within the nakshatra, within the day, the morning and evening. And that creates the real level of accuracy that is required on your charts. Now, let me take this, go back to the details here. So you saw what is happening is that 900, sorry, not 900, 9 planets with 360 degrees. Zodiac are 12 with 30-degree each. Nakshatras are 27 with 13 degrees, 20-degree each. And padas or the quarters are 108 with 3 degrees, 20 degrees each. And why this was done is because the moon traverses the earth in 27 days. I'll quickly introduce you to the concept of house. I won't go into the trikons today. But the houses in your chart are always fixed. All the sages, this is the format of the house. There are 12 divisions of the house. So whenever you are pointing at house number 10, you're always pointing at this house. In your Lagna chart or in your Navmansha chart, you are not looking at the house number. What you're looking at is the Rashi number. House numbers the sages said that this is something that you should know already in your charts. So whenever, whosoever's chart we are saying house number 12, you will always go and point at this. This is house number 12. So it is going in anti-clockwise, as you can see. House number 1, house number 2, house number 3, house number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is going in the anti-clockwise. So everybody on this planet Earth, this is also called as, sometimes you will hear a word called Kal Purush Kundli. Everybody has the same set of houses. House number 1 for everybody will remain this as house number 1. House number 7 for everybody will remain house number 7. What will change is the Rashi. So the numbers that you're looking at your Lagna or the Navmansha chart is your Rashi. Every house has more details given in your participant guides, but every house has some themes. So house number 1 is always about yourself and your own identity. That's your theme. House number 2, wealth and speech. House number 3, courage, communication, short travels, many other things, which is in your participant guide, and we'll discuss about it. But broadly, house number 4 is your house environment. House number 5 is your Purva Punya Karma, or your creativity, your children. House number 6 will be, Rog, Ripu, Rind, or the house of service and challenges, as we call it. House number 7 is your house of marriage and partnerships. House number 8 is transformation, mysteries, occult sciences, like this that we are doing. House number 9 is long travels, our bhagya, fortune, dharma. This is what it is for everybody. House number 10 is career and action, is always seen from this house. This is house number 11, which is the house of desires and gains and fulfillment. And finally, the house of moksha or expenditure. But one thing to be observed is that we always, this is also called the ascendant or the first house. This is like our life cycle. We are born and then we continue to grow and further grow, and then get into the various phases of our life, including marriage, transformations, dharma, our karma, our desires, and then finally the house of moksha. So that's the house number and the numberings that exist in each one of your charts. So I just wanted to give you a flavor of the various houses and how it represents, and the various rashis. I won't go into the trikonas today, but I just wanted to give you a flavor that this division that you saw, the 360 division, the rashi, the nakshatra, the pada, that division is used by the various prominent systems of astrology. Parashari, which is a system of astrology which is most widely used. You will continue to hear a lot of foundational stuff coming from Rishi Parashara, and followed by, there is a system called Jaimini, which focuses on different aspects. Then there is Bhrigu Nandinari, or I also sometimes we call it karma alignment. Very important on how you align your actions based on how your planets are moving and what the planets expect you to do. KP system, getting into the more details of this, but very, very scientifically accurate is the KP system. There is a numeric strength of the planets that has been given to your houses through what is called an Ashtak Varga. And then there is a system called Lal Kitab, which is very prominent, at least in the northern part of India. A lot of folks continue to do this. They say donate this, do that, and all of that is a remedial pieces, which is coming from Lal Kitab. So those are the various 6 prominent areas of astrology that we look at. Now, I think for today we will take a pause from the session pieces. I want to open it up for questions because the format of the session is that an hour long of sharing the knowledge and half an hour of question and answers. So now, have I stopped sharing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. At this point of time, what questions are occurring in your mind?
I still have a confusion. I am still not able to calculate the 27th nakshatra because according to me, it should come just before the birth nakshatra.
Okay. We will clear the 27th nakshatra question for you. Let me take all the questions first.
Yes.
Okay. What other
I have
questions do we
a
have?
question. So when we were doing sun signs, you explained that the sun sign is in your Lagna chart wherever the sun is sitting. So the
Yes.
sun, so then the sun sitting, do we take the Rashi of the house or we take the house number? Because they might not be the same, right?
Yes. Yes. So
So then,
you take the Rashi of the house. You do not take the house number.
okay.
I responded to that question first because it was short and sweet.
Okay.
I haven't responded to Shikhaji's question as yet, but I made a note of that. I'll respond to each question. What are the questions?
Alok,
Yes.
the chart that you showed, the 10, 12 houses on page 15, just the last slide you showed.
Yes.
The last slide just you showed.
Yes. Yes.
And the Lagna that we generated from Astro Sage,
Yes.
the numbering is different.
Oh, yes. Numbering is different.
So that for a novice like me, it creates a kind of a confusion.
Yeah.
Though the numbering is different in other charts also,
Yes.
especially the Navamasha also,
Yes.
the numbering order. So
Okay.
between the Lagna and the base chart that you just indicated, uh, how that numbering and what is the significance of the change in the numbering of the.
I got the question. I've made a note of it. I will respond to each question. What other questions do we have?
I wanted to go back to how you said that we can find up pada based on you draw a straight line from the moon and then whichever nakshatra, whichever pada. But then we don't nearly know where the moon was, so to speak, during our birth. So, like, I know we said that the wheel is actually just illustrative. So, how do we actually find it ourselves?
Made a note. Okay. What else? Right. Let's look at these three questions first. So I'm going to Astro Sage and I'm going to open. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So question number 1, Navtara, and how do I look at my 27th nakshatra? So let me open a sample chart here. It's deciding to not open.
Look, I have charts open at my end for me. If you want, I can share and then you can walk.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Pushpin.
So I'll share my screen.
So I will stop sharing. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody can see the chart.
Yes.
Yes.
So you see, in this case, and this question was for Shikhaji, first you will have to know how to bring a Navtara chart, which is in my first video between 49 minutes 35 seconds to 56 minutes. You can review that.
No, I'm sorry. I'm able to open that Navtara chart for me, and I know this is my first nakshatra, and, which one is my 27th. But if I need to know for somebody else, and if I don't have this chart, so how to calculate from the picture you had shared, that 360-degree circle which you have shared. So from there, if we want to calculate, how to do that?
Okay. From there, if you want to calculate, if you remember, there was this Ashwini nakshatra.
Yeah.
The 27th nakshatra is the Revati nakshatra for that.
Yeah, so 27 should be Revati and the first should be Ashwini.
Correct.
And same, it's like if somebody's first nakshatra, birth nakshatra is Bharani, so his 27th should be Ashwini, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
it.
So that was the confusion. Yeah.
Yes. You got it. So if
Okay.
somebody's Janma nakshatra is Ashwini, the 27th nakshatra will be right behind. I've got your back.
Okay.
Is Revati. But somebody's Janma nakshatra is Bharani, then the 27th nakshatra will automatically come as Ashwini.
Ashwini. Okay. Clear.
That's how
Thank
it
you.
is. It is. And it'll show up in this Navtara chart.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Now, the next question was the numberings are different. That question was from Samirji. In this chart, if you look at the Lagna chart that I'm looking at, the numbers start from 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those are Rashi numbers. House numbers for everybody remains the same. And house number, the sages said, you should be competent enough to understand what the house numbers are. It's invisible to all of us. So house number 1 in this chart is always where Saturn is sitting. Where number 7 is saying, so number 7 is the Rashi, but the house number is 1 for this chart. House number 2 is number 9 Rashi.
8.
8. Yes, 8. Thank you. 8 Rashi. House number 3 is number 9 Rashi. House number 4 is number 10 Rashi. House number 10 is number 4 Rashi. So this is a matter of practice. You will never be able to see the house number. What is visible to you is the Rashi number. So by looking at this chart, I can say that this is a Tula Rashi or a Libra ascendant. Why? Because 7 was Libra. And that is something that it'll come with practice, but all I'm wanting to explain right now is the house number is never visible to us. You have to always see that this is an invisible thing. What is visible to me is Rashi, and what's visible to me is the planets.
So
Does
I
that
have a
help?
question here. Can I
Yes.
ask?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. How do we determine the Rashi number? Like you said, seven is the Rasi. So which Rashi is associated with which number? So can you explain that?
Yeah. Every number. Do you have a copy of your participant guide?
I brought it on the screen. If you want, I can.
Participant guide. Yeah. Thank you, Pushpin. If you go to the participant guide,
2.2.
I had shared this screen.
Okay. Yes.
So you look at your first house. Whichever
Hmm.
number is that house, that's your ascendant.
Okay.
So, so if you got 7, which is the chart that Pushpendra was showing on the left-hand side, this is a
So it's
Tura
Libra.
Rashi or a Libra ascendant.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay. Thank you.
Alok, just repeat the base sign and the ascendant sign. Just repeat
Base
for
sign is
clarity.
never known to you, which is the house number. House number is never visible to you. You have to remember these are 12 houses. It starts with the house there, and then you have to remember 12 houses. Like this. Yes. So these houses, it'll never be visible on your chart. You have to remember them. They are in the
Yes.
background, back end. You have to always remember if I point at house number there at house number 8, you know exactly. But let's do this.
Mhm.
House number 8 on this chart, on Lagna chart, has what number, Samirji? On the
Nine.
Lagna chart that is showing up on the screen, house number 8 is what Rashi? What is the number?
Number two.
Number
Number
2.
two
Exactly.
is
Now you get it. House number 8 is number 2 and
number two
Taurus
is
Rashi.
Taurus.
Brilliant.
Number
You're
two
getting
is
it. Brilliant. House number 8 on this Lagna chart is Taurus Rashi or Vrishab Rashi in Hindi, Taurus. Uh, I have a question. I noticed in this chart that Venus appears to be connected to both Leo and Aries. If Venus is positioned in Leo in a horoscope, why does it also show an influence placement? Okay. It's a good question. Naren, she's not able to speak, problem with the speaker, but I will take this question in the next class. Are there influence of a planet in two different rashis? I think that's the question that's coming up. But coming back to your question, Samirji, are you getting a hang of it? The house
just for my clarification, I can see Venus in house number 8
for you?
in the no, for the chart we are seeing, everybody is seeing on the screen. I think Siddharth has this, Pushpendra has this one exactly on the screen. The Venus is appearing in sixth house.
Sixth house. Perfect. Now you get it.
And you mentioned Venus appearing somewhere else also, if I heard correctly.
No. That was another question somebody had asked me. I was just reading that question. So please ignore.
Okay.
Right now, what you're looking at is Venus is appearing in house number 6 of this chart in Pisces Rashi.
It's Ucha as well.
Yeah, that's a concept that will come later. Atin, thank you for that. So it's also about where the planet is feeling more comfortable and feeling more exalted or ucha as we call it. But right now, what we see is Venus is appearing in 6th house in Pisces Rashi. Clear?
So just because we're on the Lagna chart, as you can see that they also have the three planets that we've not studied, which is your Neptune, which is your Pluto. Do we just ignore those?
Ignore. Yes, that's a good question. Ignore. Ignore. We only focus on those 9 planets. Actually, 7 planets and 2 nodes. That's how. So we focus on those 9. Ignore Pluto. They don't have an impact on our life. I mean, some astrologers say they have a little bit of impact, but they are so far away and so slow moving that it does not have an impact in all the systems of astrology that we study.
one more thing which we see when we are seeing on screen is different colors used for different planets.
Yeah.
Green, blue, red.
Yes.
Must have some significance.
You are reading it right, and also not, this thing. This is just a software prerogative, Samirji.
Okay,
In the
okay, okay.
astrology space, there are a number of softwares, and different softwares use different colors. But but yes, there is some relevance to it. You will study later on. There is a concept of malefic planet and benefic planets, planets that are naturally, there to give you good results, and planets that are naturally to create more challenges for you. And therefore, generally the positives are turned as green, the others are done as red. But it depends from software to software. We will leave it at that. We will do our own interpretations. Even in the participant guide that we created, you see the color coding that we have done. There is a reason for that. We'll introduce you to a concept of trikon, and that's why we have used the color coding, which means it is our thought and thinking process which is determining the stuff, not anything else.
So
Okay.
it may be a little early to ask. Maybe in the next session, you can just introduce we hear something is retrograde. We just hear in various people speak now a
Yeah,
particular planet is
I
retrograde.
will make a note of that, but
Maybe in the next session you can just bring in
yeah,
a brief about it,
yeah,
and as we go forward, wherever you feel appropriate, we can discuss, go deeper into
yeah.
what is retrograde and its effects and
I'll
whatnot.
be happy to. I'll be happy to talk about it. I've made a note of that. Last question that I want to take is which planet is in which pada? And again, I'm challenged with Astro Sage. Let's see if it comes back in for me. And if it is not, what you will do is, Pushpen, are you comfortable sharing a chart on Astro Sage? You are. But are you comfortable going to the main screen?
Sure. Let me try.
And just go back from here. Top left, you have a back button.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
that one.
This one.
Yes. Yes. You can't go back to the main screen. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is the one. So if you click on the birth chart, the tile birth chart.
Birth chart only.
Yes.
Okay.
If you click on that, and if you go down and stay with me for a moment here, yes. Now what you will be able to see for this chart that is showing up, the ascendant was Libra,
Right.
Libra Rashi.
Swati Nakshatra.
Nakshatra was Swati. Yeah, thank you, Atin. And Pada was 4. So, which means you're getting to that level of precision that this is a Libra ascendant, Swati Nakshatra in Libra, and which Pada, which quarter of Swati? Fourth quarter of Swati. Where was Moon? Moon was in Purva Bhadrapada, and sorry, Sun was in Purva Bhadrapada in second quarter. Moon was in Purvashada, second quarter. So Janma Nakshatra is Purvashada, and then you can start computing. So all planet, the whole snapshot of each one of those planet, which nakshatra and which pada was there, is available in this chart here. So you can make a note of this because each one of these will have an impact. Things are moving. And if you have continued to hear, and there's a concept of transit chart that we read, and a lot of people, lot of the noise also that you will hear, or from secondary information you will hear, is that right now Jupiter is moving in Cancer right now. So, and then it is moving into different pada and so on and so forth, and what should you do and so on and so forth. this is how you compute. But let's remain focused on your chart. Did you get your answer, Akriti?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So all questions responded except one which Naren had. So, I noticed in this chart that Venus appeared to be connected to. Oh, okay. She may be talking about the 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 nakshatra wheel chart where it is connected to both those planets. I think it will become a little more clear. And her question is, if Venus is positioned in Leo in a horoscope, why does it also show influence of placement of Aries? Yeah. So her question was basically Venus and Ketu and Leo. So there are planetary positions and lords of each one of those. So actually, it will get covered in later sessions, but the question has prompted us to also respond to say that every Rashi has a lord and every nakshatra has a lord. Every Rashi has a lord. So one Aries has a Mars, and 9 Sagittarius has a Jupiter as a lord. And you will see in the color coded, every nakshatra also has a lord. So, for example, Kritika has Sun, Bharani has Venus, Ashwini has Ketu, like that. All of that lords. How will we use it? That is a matter that is for later sessions, but today's session was really focused on introducing some of the concepts, giving you the idea of how the nakshatra wheel is. If you understood your nakshatra wheel, if you started getting introduced to how your chart works, well, congratulations on this journey. It's going to be fascinating over the next 6 lessons, 5 more to begin with. And depending on how the interest of the participants is, I may decide to go more deeper in one specific area, either with karma alignment or KP and so on and so forth. But you will start looking at some predictions of your chart, I think, at the end of the 6th session. So thank you so much for
Can
the
I just
time.
ask one question? Sorry, we're on the
Yes.
wheel. Just the outermost layer, which is the degrees. I know it should be 360 degrees, but the way they're divided numerically, it's very uneven. So, like if you see with Ashwini, you've got 13 to 20, but with Bharani, you've got 26 to 40, which is like 14 degrees. And then with Kritika, it just says 40 degrees. Like, is there a sort of meaning to them, sort of like method to the madness, so to speak?
There is, I mean, the precision, but I think it's all, every nakshatra is adding 360. So there's one method of that. And then, yeah, 13 degree, 20 minutes is getting added for every nakshatra.
This is
Okay.
not
Oh,
13
okay.
degree to 20 degree, it's 13 degree 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yes.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So
13,
then I was
20.
reading it wrong. So I was like 13 degrees to 20, but that's not the way it
No,
is. Got it.
13
Perfect.
degree, 20 minutes. 13 degree, 20 minutes. So simple maths.
Yeah, yeah, got it now. Got it.
360 divided by 27. You will know
Got
what numbers are, right? All right. So we will meet again, same time next week. Thank you, everyone. And within
Thank you so
now
much for
and
the.
then, if you've got more questions, let's post them on WhatsApp. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alok.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye bye.